It's a Memorial Day edition of Swing for the Fences. Happy Memorial Day to everybody out there, especially those who have served our country in any capacity. We appreciate that service and welcome you and encourage you to play this 7-game Major League Baseball slate on our partner DraftKings, DK Partner. I'm here with DC and Big T. Going to talk about what we've got going on. One game with weather, DC. I'll bring you in here first as the resident meteorologist. It looks like the game that is in Kansas City, Reds and the Royals, that game's going to start right in the middle of like a 6-hour window where there's 50% chance of rain pretty consistently. What are your thoughts here on this Kansas City game before we get into this slate?
Yeah, it kind of looks like an ugly game anyway. I didn't really want to play Nick Martinez or Lorenzen, and even if it plays, right, it's not going to be a hitter-friendly environment, so neither of those stacks look super great. So, honestly, this is a tough slate overall to find, really, I think, anything you're in love with, offense, pitching. But this was the game that I was kind of lowest on of the 7 that we have to choose from. So, multiple hours out from this game, locking. But right now, I am kind of proceeding as just, a 6-game slate and just kind of move on because I wasn't super interested anyway. So pretty easy to do there, I guess.
So regardless of the weather, you don't really care because it's a game you're not interested in. And that's sort of the summary that you've provided us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks too dangerous to play right now with the weather. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Run us right off on fire on Mondays. We got to get a little confrontation going here. Out of the
I thought we were going to ease into this show, a little bit. I thought I'd get to talk a little bit about Memorial Day, but no, JT putting me on the spot, asking for an in-depth weather report for the game starting 4 hours before lock. So you know what, JT, I left my my fighting boots at home over there, but I'll put them on and bring it for this show. So
are you in Mangone's guest room? Are they under the cheese head, perhaps?
No, not in Mangone's guest room, but no, good to be here. And also, I got to say, happy Memorial Day to everybody out there. Obviously, people that have served, people that have lost family members or friends, and yeah, take advantage by gambling on DraftKings today and enjoy your Memorial Day.
That is the best way. The best way to take advantage of your freedom is by doing that. Big T, 7 games, interesting slate because you've got essentially it's split. We got 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then 4 o'clock. And it's the only way you could get a full slate in on this day. I guess they could have started the main slate at 4 and included the night games. But either way, you're going to have a 7-8 hour slate here. And that means that we're going to be getting lineups coming in towards the middle of the slate. It's going to be a day where you have to pay attention. But what are your thoughts about Memorial Day and then thoughts about the slate in general?
Yeah, I think it's always tough on these days, like you said, with the games spaced all around. Part of me wishes some days they would just go and just like old days, just run the full all the way through. Only on these days, like not always, but like just run it all the way through and get a full slate at night. But I don't mind it, honestly. I'd rather them include these early games than start at 4 and go late. I like having these and starting an early show here too with you guys. Start the day right and break these things down. But yeah, I mean, it's a interesting slate too, where we don't have like the Yankees at Coors and some of these spots that we've had recently that pop off the page. But I think there's some good stuff and some spots to attack that I feel pretty good about today. So, and I always like a little day action, a little afternoon delight. There's nothing wrong with that, JT.
A little excitement throughout the day, something on a day that most people are off and perhaps barbecuing outside. You get to watch some baseball. What more could you ask for? We could ask for
everyone always. I wondered this. Why does everyone call it barbecuing and not like cooking out? Like, where's the trans? Everyone says barbecuing. Like, I don't. Why is it barbecuing? If it's a burger, is it called barbecuing?
No, it's the mechanism that is what it's cooked in is a barbecue.
A barbecue? That's what you call it? You say I'm going to throw the burgers on the barbecue?
That's what I've heard people say.
That's a Southern thing. We say grilling. I say I'm grilling out.
That's what I was wondering. That's my question if it was a Southern thing, because everyone back in Kentucky always says like barbecuing, and I've never heard that. In Denver, it was always we're cooking out. Like we're cooking out.
JSU has the same reaction I have. Like who calls it cooking out? I grew up in New York.
Barbecue. Like it's a freaking burger. It's not barbecue.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like calling the freaking hoop goal. Like it's basketball. It's not soccer, people. Like it's not a goal. You're shooting at the hoop.
I mean, a barbecue refers to the gathering where you all go, and
that's cooking out. I mean, why is that not cooking out?
I guess it could be. I'm not arguing the point. I'm saying you could call it that. I've never heard it called that. Grilling out. That's fine.
Cooking in. Cooking in. What?
Yeah, that's interesting. Drop your questions. Any thoughts on barbecue versus cooking out in the chat? We'd love to hear about the specific vernacular of where you grew up and where you live. That's always fun. And then barbecue is a style of cooking. We're gonna get 80 different definitions here, I think.
I'm curious. I'm interested.
Yeah. Old Blue wants to call it eating out. Eating out is when you go to a restaurant, right? I mean,
it's not eating out
outside of your house.
We can all agree on that. It's not eating
at a restaurant. Yeah.
Jacques Thomas said the differentiation is based on ethnicity. That's all right. I'm not sure.
Divide everybody into race.
Oh,
I've heard tons of black people call it barbecuing. That is not the answer either.
For the 449 people who are here watching, did you expect to have a debate on barbecue versus cooking out? And that's what is great about Run Pure Sports in the show. Eric Leiterman is in here. He says he honestly never thought that much about it. Kind of makes two of us.
People need to think about these.
Kind of makes two of us, but maybe we should think more about it. Andy is throwing everything on the griddle today in Delray Beach. Well, good for you.
Griddle.
Good for you, the griddler. He's got a griddler and he's cooking
I like that on the griddle. I also like Spencer Smith. Every show just guesses where I'm eating. I just get all the rest. I'm going to City Barbecue now, he says.
Okay. We'll kick this off. The first game of the slate, 1:10 p.m. Eastern, is in Detroit. DC, Hayden Birdsong, 7,800. Believe this is his second start of the year against Kiter Montero, 6K. Montero, just a guy that you almost can never play because of the length. He's not an opener, but they also don't really ever feel comfortable having him pitch more than 4, maybe 5 innings. This price for Birdsong, 7,800 against a Detroit team that I don't really often pick on with opposing pitching. Don't think I'm going to do it today with Hayden Birdsong. What are your thoughts, DC, on the Giants and the Tigers?
Yeah, I think you nailed it for the most part. Montero, just a guy. They're trying to get 4 or 5 innings out of him, right? Maybe 6 on a good day. And they know the strikeouts aren't really going to be there. He's just not that kind of pitcher. So, yeah, Montero off the table for me. Birdsong, I think, is a reasonable play at 7,800. I was on him in his last start against Kansas City, made the transition to the starting rotation after they removed Jordan Hicks. He's got really good stuff, and he looked pretty good against Kansas City, who's a low strikeout team in general. 80 pitches in that one, so I would assume up to 90 here or so, most likely for Birdsong, which I think at least puts him in play at 7,800. Not my favorite pitcher today, but I think much more in play than Montero is. And then offensively, I do think you could play, select bats or maybe even mini stacks from both these teams. It's a day where there's almost no good offensive environments, right? It's kind of cold everywhere, a lot of stadiums with wind blowing in. So normally I wouldn't really want to play Comerica, and it's still not my favorite, but I do think it's, you don't want to write it off. So Giants side, I like Yastrzemski. Jung-Ho Lee, I like a little bit. And then most of the top of the lineup, I think, is good there. And then for the Tigers, kind of the usual suspects, right? Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green lead the way for me. But I could see either of these offenses doing some damage and, maybe off to a fast start here on Memorial Day if you stack these teams. So I do think this is a game you can play both ways a little bit. I would say the top of the Giants lineup would be my overall favorite way to play this game, though.
Big T, thoughts here on the Giants and the Tigers? DC has a little bit of interest in Birdsong. I just think with the other options and his price, I'm going to get up to Tyon. I'm going to get up to some of the other players. And then the Tigers, people have been talking about it, but Javi Baez, it looks like whatever was going on with him the last couple of seasons, he's at least fixed it enough to be not just a consistent contributor to their team, but maybe even a viable DFS play on this slate. What are your thoughts here on the Giants and the Tigers?
Yeah, on this slate, you're going to have at least a little interest in some of these spots. The hard part is it's just, I can see this game being like 6-5, like the classic Detroit spot that we argued about a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where it's like 6-5, but there's not really home runs. There's a bunch of like singles and just random stuff to get there. And it's just not on the winner. But it is, I mean, it's just not that deep of a slate, especially if you get rid of the Kansas City game. And some of the offenses, White Sox, Rockies, teams that you're really just not going to go to unless you're trying to be super contrarian. So you're going to have to look at these spots, but it does. I mean, there's no way I'm playing these pitchers. I mean, the one thing about the slate, we do have pitchers at the top that I think are really good plays. So I'm not going to punt not even a punt with Birdsong because his price is similar to some of the guys that I'm talking about. So definitely not going to play the pitchers here. And I mean, I definitely think they're like stacked spots where it could be a slate too, where there's just not like one team that just goes nuts, which these teams could also end up being good with. I mean, Detroit, I always like Detroit more than I should. I mean, Carpenter and Riley Green are upside type guys, but man, you just have a lot of guys that I think will get 7 fantasy points or something, which is fine. I think they'll score. I always like the Giants more than I should too. So these are two teams that I like more than I should, but I don't know. I'm not enthused by either spot really.
No, and it is. Look, you do have two teams with kind of random pinch hit risk, right? It's not necessarily the top guys, but they could be pinch hit for depending on the situation. These managers don't care. So it's kind of a mediocre spot overall. We'll move on to the next game. Big T, stick with you. Garrett Crochet, 10.3K for the Red Sox heading into Milwaukee. Chad Patrick, 7K. Crochet pulled at 85 pitches his last start against the Mets, but it was persistent rain. It was windy. It was cold. The Mets were putting just enough of the bat on the ball to make it a struggle for Crochet. Other than that, he's been quite good. 2 starts before that, more than 100 pitches. Chad Patrick, 7K, has been good, but this Brewers team with these young pitchers, you never know if they're going to get 95 pitches or 65 pitches. I don't think Patrick's an option.
Another Monday bullpen game.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's a bullpen game. I just don't trust the Brewers the way they manage their pitchers, and I'm not interested on Patrick on this slate. What are your thoughts here on the Red Sox and the Brewers?
So Patrick, I mean, I feel like he's gotten at least I keep hearing everyone say how lucky he's getting. I know I played him last start during the week. I think it was versus Baltimore, and he kind of did it with mirrors a little bit where I felt pretty lucky. I played him and I felt like they could have beat me up, and he got there. He was good. I think he had 18 I need to pull it up, 18, 19 points. Solid, but I don't love this matchup. I always like Boston against pretty weak righties. All these lefties in the lineup. They add another guy that, I mean, I don't know who this Mayer dude is, but another lefty in the middle of the lineup. I like Boston.
I love it. I didn't expect we were going to have a spot where you were going to be able to say you didn't know who a guy was, but here it is. Marcelo Mayer, by the way, is one of the top-rated prospects in baseball.
I think it would have been much better if Big T came in with like a detailed scouting report on Marcelo Mayer to give to the people.
The funny part is, like, you don't even need that info though, because if he hits like 9th, I know he's a shitty prospect. If he hits 8th, he's a little bit, but 6th, I think he's a little higher prospect when I see him plop in there. I guess you just got to have common sense with it in my head. It's like grilling and barbecuing. I gotta put it all together.
Big T knows we're here for him to inform him on the viability of these prospects. Yeah, there's no need to
You knew it,
Wow.
John. You live in Boston.
Wow.
Okay, John. And I thought, well, where was our NBA show today, John? Stop typing in the chat. I was on here an hour ago ready to do an NBA show, and there was no show and no John. So don't be typing in my chat. I had everything ready to go. I was ready to do double duty today on a holiday, and you were nowhere to be found, John.
John was
interrupting me.
He was preparing for the baseball slate. He was looking up the prospects. He's ready to go today.
Yeah, he's looking at the freaking baseball prospects instead of doing an NBA show with me. You're right, DC.
Grinding Marcelo Myers box scores from high school.
He's in there looking at his minor league freaking swinging strike rates and shit. I mean, come on, John. But anyways, John, before you interrupted me, I love Boston, especially these lefties, even the righties too, like in the middle of the lineup, like Narvaez, 3-hole catcher against this Chad Patrick. I have to like him. Campbell's had some nice games this year too when I played him. I like Boston. Boston might end up being my favorite team by the time it's all said and done. This lineup is good all the way down. I'm in on Boston. Patrick's due for regression. I'm definitely in on Boston. Crochet, though, I might be a little lower than the field on him. I think he'll be the highest with Tyon when we get to him. I think those will be kind of the chalk pairing. I like a few other guys probably more than Crochet. I'll still play him. I don't think I'm not fading him or anything, but I'm definitely lower on Crochet than the field.
DC, I listed the Red Sox second in the playbook, but in reality, they may actually be my top team here on the slate. What are your thoughts on the Red Sox and the Brewers?
Yeah, I guess we're to our first disagreement on the day and the part of the show where DC likes to challenge himself.
If you say you're playing Chad Patrick.
Yeah, get Chad Patrick. Come on down. One of the better pitcher plays on this slate at 7K. You're talking about his, not going deep into games. I mean, he's averaged 5+
You don't have to play the shitty pitcher every slate. You don't have to. It's not a requirement.
He's a good player. By the way, Big T,
all the shows got to stack the worst team on the slate, and you always got to play the worst pitcher on the slate. You guys don't have to make it this hard.
He's not the worst. He's a good play. I honestly think he's a good play. Chad Patrick. This isn't like who do you like below Chad Patrick? Tell me.
I don't need cheap guys. You don't have to punt pitcher. You don't. It's not a requirement.
I don't think it's a punt. Look what he's doing. He's pitching well. The matchup's fine. There's plenty of strikeouts. Look at the projections, Big T. Do you not have him high up on point per dollar projections?
No, I don't need point per dollar. There's no offenses to spend for. I don't need a 7K pitcher. I'm playing Jacob deGrom. Have you heard of him?
All right. Well, I think Chad Patrick's a good play. Apparently not allowed to say that here on the show.
He's going to get smoked.
Okay, we'll see.
On the freaking barbecue, he's going to get smoked. Throw him
on there. Patrick. You guys apparently don't need to hear about it. He's an awful play. Don't play him. I do like him. And then, in on Crochet as well. Hasn't been – yeah, I mean, the last start was frustrating with the removal, but obviously good spot. And, I guess just play the best plays so Crochet for the people. There's JSU. Maybe JSU's on my side. Chad Patrick, JSU.
The graphics messed up. My head's cut off.
That's because you're fucking short. What do you want? I mean, you got to sit up tall like a man. I mean, you're all slunched over. I mean, look at JT. Look at DC. These guys, they're fit. They're in shape. They're sitting up nice and tall. I am too. I'm just a lot shorter than the rest of you. But, you got to sit up like a man, Tony. And second of all, you called me out about this hoop show. So I went in thinking there was a hoop show as well. I was like, where is it? I go to the calendar. It's gone. I thought you deleted it.
I don't even know. I've never logged into the calendar. How would I delete it?
Well, I thought you told your brother to delete it because he's the one who makes the shows. That's the funniest part about this whole thing.
Seat, ready to start at 10:29 like we do every day.
Why didn't you text me?
Because I just thought you didn't want to do it.
No, I literally thought your brother erased the show. I thought you told him to take the show out because it was Memorial and you didn't want to go back to back. That's what I thought happened.
I love going back to back.
That's why I had to clear it out. That's why I said to you in the show, I said, I'll jump on after and we could talk.
When am I supposed to eat? I thought this was an eating holiday. Just because you eat once a day,
JT,
I mean, just because you eat
can he not
every
eat
day doesn't mean I can't eat.
Can he not eat the rest of the day?
I mean,
the rest of the day for eating? Plenty
of time. You could have multiple meals between the end of the show.
I am going to have multiple. To
and
have multiple,
time.
I got to get the first in me, though.
What do you mean? You don't need. What do you need? 10 hours in between each meal? You eat. You rest an hour. You eat again. I've seen you eat. You'll be fine.
Got a shower too, the Bumster. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I got a shower too. Everyone's got a shower. I got Kelly over here. She's baking stuff to bring to the parents' house right now. She's cooking things.
JSU, do you have any thoughts on Chad Patrick against the Red Sox?
Who, me?
Yes.
I do not like Chad Patrick, but it's more just the pitchers on the slate than anything else. Yeah. So not that he couldn't give you like 14 or 15, which I think he probably does. I rather a pitcher that gets me 25. What?
All right. Well, I mean, no. That's I like the Red Sox here. I think it's potentially a Red Sox slate. So I'll say that.
I like it.
DC, do you want any interest in the bats in this game or just Chad Patrick and?
No, you can definitely play the Red Sox bats, of course. I just do think that Chad Patrick. What, JT? You all the time you say you can play both sides. Of course you can play both sides.
I try not to say that.
But you say it all the time. I think Chad Patrick is just a completely fine play. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Let's move on.
I don't understand what you think you're showing. I eat. That's my point. I like to eat.
Yeah. He eats.
So why can't you eat on a show like you do all the time with me?
Where's the food going to come from? Out of the sky?
Isn't Amber cooking? She's not cooking today? Sorry. I don't know what to tell you then.
He's not answering.
Why don't you order something? Order yourself some Wendy's.
Wendy's is tasty.
I'm very schedule oriented.
No. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next game. It is in Chicago. The Cubs return home after a weekend in Cincinnati, Big T's backyard. And we've got Carson Palmquist, DC. Run Pure Sports favorite, Carson Palmquist against Jameson Taillon. Palmquist 5K. Rockies' first game on the road after getting shellacked by the Yankees all weekend. Now they go into Chicago to face the Cubs, another top offense here. Taillon 8,600. Looking like Taillon's going to be the highest owned player on this slate. And look, I can't argue this play. Rockies away from home. Taillon's been very good. It is pitching weather in Chicago. That can change on a dime, though. The wind could shift. And don't think it matters all that much for the Rockies. But what are your thoughts on the Cubs bats and Jameson Taillon here, unless you're going to surprise us and tell us that you're interested in Palmquist or the Rockies? DC is frozen, so we'll throw that to you, Big T. Your thoughts on the Rockies?
He needs to sign out after the Chad Patrick.
It's definitely a holiday screen here.
He's back.
Run Pure Sports. Here he is. He's back.
I took my ball and went home after you made fun of me and Chad Patrick. I'm out of here. I'm not
perfect
timing. I'm good to go here, JT.
You're good to go. Good to go. Carson Palmquist and Jameson Taillon. Talk to us.
I was going to say, I made the case for Patrick. I'm not going to make it for Carson Palmquist. I think the more interesting thing to do is what to do with the Cubs, who, I mean, it sucks, right? This would be a much more fun slate if the wind was blowing out at Wrigley Field, I think, but it's not. It's going to be cool, wind blowing in, low total in this game, as you might expect with that weather. I still think, though, the Cubs got to be in play against Palmquist and this horrible Rockies bullpen. And JT, I mean, how many times have the Cubs gone off?
Hasn't mattered. Weather hasn't mattered for this team.
Like at Wrigley, like 10 times this season, have they probably gone off with shit weather in Wrigley already? Yeah. So obviously they can do it again against, I mean, I don't know where Palmquist ranks and the worst starting pitcher in baseball ranks, but it's below Chad Patrick. I'm for sure on that much. So I do like the Cubs.
Slightly below Chad Patrick, but yeah.
They are the team. Big T said you don't have to, pay down for pitching. The Cubs are expensive, right? If you want to play Tucker and Suzuki and Swanson, you are paying up for those bats. So I think that's one, way you can potentially make paying down at pitcher work. And then Taillon, I do think is, clearly the best, projection-wise, point per dollar-wise pitcher on this slate. The Rockies are just abysmal, especially when you take them out of Coors Field. And now you take them out of Coors Field to, the toughest hitting environment on the slate, it looks like. So you have to expect Taillon to pitch well. He's expensive for Jameson Taillon, and he will be super popular, but I think justified for Taillon. I'll certainly have plenty of him and plenty of Cubs as well, I think, against Mr. Palmquist.
Big T, we like the Cubs. Maybe not as many home runs, but doubles and stolen bases. You can certainly steal a bunch of bases off of this Rockies team. And well, let's just read through the last 4 names on this Rockies batting order, Big T. Mickey Moniak, Kyle Farmer against a right-handed pitcher, Nick Martini, and Jacob Stallings. That sounds like a lot of strikeouts for Jameson Taillon. What are your thoughts here on the Rockies and the Cubs?
Yeah, the Rockies are just an embarrassment to baseball. It's so bad. All year you just got to play the pitcher every day, really. And the White Sox. We got 2 of the teams on the slate where you just doesn't really matter who it is. And when it's a good pitcher, it's obviously going to be a better spot. Taillon, do we consider him a good pitcher? He's probably a good pitcher.
He's been better. He's been more like the prospect we expected to see when Jameson Taillon came up this season than he has at any other point in his career.
Yeah, and I've always looked at him as another spot for you guys to make fun of me and my biases, but I've always looked at him as I'm only really scared of lefties against him. I'm not really scared of these lefties. McMahon, I think Ryan McMahon's a decent one-off play, 3,700, but besides that, look at those names you just read. It's so bad. Kyle, my favorite part of the Rockies is Farmer's always been like a horrible platoon guy, and they just leave him in versus they don't care. They just roll him out, and he's never like in the 9 either. He's always like 5, 6, 7. That's how bad this team is. The guy was a bad platooner. He wasn't even like a good platooner, and they just throw him in there like he's friggin' Babe Ruth every day. It's just.
He would not make the all-platoon team, would he? He would.
He was like the freshman team version of the platooners, okay. And then now he plays versus righties. It's so bad. It's as bad as it gets, this Rockies team. So yeah, Taillon. My only issue at all is just he's going to be so owned, and I don't know if he still has like the biggest upside in the world. I think he's like extremely safe to get you like 20 though, at 1920, which is obviously good at 8,600. I think he's a great play. I don't know if I'm as high on the Cubs though. I think this, all jokes aside, I think Palmquist is better than people think he is, which might not be good.
Why do you think that?
Everything I read, all his numbers, minor league numbers look good for strikeouts.
Mocks me for recommending Chad Patrick, and then comes here caping for Palmquist, claiming he read up on the articles on Palmquist. Get out of here, Big T. Get out of here.
No, you're actually playing Chad Patrick, which is terrible. I'm just saying this guy could limit the Cubs a little bit with the wind blowing in. I don't like the Cubs. You guys can have the Cubs. I don't like the Cubs.
As my friend Big T would say, DC just takes it a step further. You know what I mean? He gives a take, and then he goes a step further over the line. Big T's just giving a take and then staying back a little bit. He doesn't like to
go over the line. What are you talking about, Trace?
By playing Patrick, he's saying you're going past what he thinks and playing him. That's what I'm saying. But I don't know. This guy's bad. He has faced 2 good teams. I will say that Arizona is a pretty damn good team, and then Philly. So he's not getting any. There's no step down in competition. That's what I was about to say. He has to go play the Cubs. The only thing you could say is, oh, the wind, it's blowing in. But I've seen the Cubs hit bombs in Chicago when the wind's blowing in and it's cold. So I'm not really worried about Chicago.
You guys have never seen Reese McGuire hit a bomb, is all I know.
Yesterday did he hit 2 or 1?
He did not hit 2 bombs yesterday.
I swear to God, bro.
Reese McGuire hit 2 bombs in a day?
Yes, and he wasn't in the pool. So I stacked. The Cubs were my highest owned stack, and I missed out on their highest owned player because he wasn't in the pool. I mean, everybody did, but whatever. It's all
Damn
good.
it, we shouldn't have said anything, and we should have let Big T just go with this whole Reese McGuire never hit a bomb thing for like a couple more
I've
minutes.
seen him for 15 years. He's awful, so I don't care if he hit 2 bombs yesterday. He's horrendous.
He's so bad. When I saw it, I was just like, how is this even possible? This guy hit 2 bombs or whatever it was. It was ridiculous.
His captain sent the tweet to DraftKings. Can we get him in the player pool, captain? Come on.
The issue is, first of all, it's yeoman's work, what he's been trying to do, but now it's every day. It's every day. It's like
repetitive. You got to space
there's a bunch of players missing from the pool. It's like, okay, that's fine. And today's a holiday of all things. So Lord knows who's not going to be in the pool. Well, it looks like Reese McGuire is still not in the pool. He's catching and batting ninth.
He's in. He's in the pool. I see him on DK.
Okay. All right. They must have added him because what I'm looking at just
is he 2,000? Is he 2,000?
2,500. He's 2,500. So.
And he hit at least his first bomb yesterday was against Lodolo. So just left on left masher.
I don't know. He might have to play a little bit. You might have to play him a little bit after you just called him out. That might be a good sign right there for you.
I'll play him on my Chad Patrick teams.
All right, JSU. Any other thoughts here on the Cubs and the Rockies?
No, I definitely want some Cubs.
Instead of doing our NBA show, we're making John go to Wendy's today. He's talking all this shit about food. I forgot all about the Wendy's bet. No NBA show. He's got to go to Wendy's, and we can do it on the show. What should we have him get, DC? Like, what should our order be that this guy's got to eat?
I always get the spicy nugs when I go to Wendy's personally.
We got to do better than that for him.
I know.
He hasn't eaten Wendy's since 1978.
What do you got? What do they have there? Like a Baconator?
Meal. You got to give me like a meal.
Like a big old juicy
Baconator. Yeah.
Baconator. Yeah. Something like that.
Son of the Baconator is nice. It has a few less calories. It's beautiful.
We want more calories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you just killed that one. On to the next one. Big T's gonna find the grossest meal
Chili
ever.
on top of the baked potato. I mean, that's a decent option.
Oh, God. That sounds so bad.
They have baked potatoes at Wendy's.
Big T, would you rather play Chad Patrick or eat a Wendy's baked potato with chili on top?
He'd definitely eat.
For sure.
No way, you're eating the baked potato with chili.
No chance.
I'm calling you out. No way.
Wendy's?
You love chili. You have chili on spaghetti and stuff. You love chili.
No, that's different. That is a different kind of chili.
Yeah, it is different.
This one probably has big old nasty beans in it and stuff from Wendy's. Like, oh, maybe we should go with that Bumpster. Now that I'm thinking about the beans, the beans might get him right. JT, I need some input here. What can we get him? You're the barbecue man. What can we get him with at Wendy's here? He's got to do it. We got to get it today for the holiday.
I mean, listen. We'll be eating burgers off the grill, so no Wendy's here. All right, let's move on to the next game. JSU. It is the Cardinals heading into Baltimore. Eric Fetty, 6,500 against Charlie Morton, 5,500. Morton, his last 3 appearances. Let me read you Morton's statistics: 27% strikeout rate, 6% walk rate, 3.17 xFIP. He's 5,500. He's been bruised and battered. Certainly taken a while to get into form here. Charlie Morton's an interesting play on this slate. At least I think so at 5,500. What are your thoughts on the Cardinals and the Orioles?
Yeah, the Orioles are one of those teams. They've been super up and down lately. They went on like a really bad stretch where they were losing, I don't know, like 8-9 games, whatever it was in a row. They finally won a couple in Boston. But it's one of those spots where, like, I can't tell if I want to spend down just because of the pitching on this slate, if I want to spend down or if I want to just attack the bats. It is definitely one of those games where I think you could try and pick a bat or pick a pitcher out of it, a cheap pitcher. I think I like the bats more, though, JT. I think I like the Cards a little bit. They always, like, have upside and randomly can, like, pop off in these spots. And I do like some of the guys, like, in their lineup. I like the shortstop, that Wynn dude. Mason Wynn, 4,200. Always like him. You got Newt Bar, some good outfielders, some cheap outfielders. So I'm probably going to be more on the bats here from St. Louis. And then the Baltimore side against Fetty. We saw Fetty have that ridiculous game. He's still a bad pitcher at heart, but I think for me, it could be even like a spot where I just game stack both sides a little bit up and play the bats here, because I don't know if I'm going to go to either of these pitchers. And honestly, the hitting spots on this slate are just, they're okay. You got the Cubs spot. They're super expensive. Like, these two teams are fairly priced. So the price tags are kind of what's pulling me in on these hitters.
Big T, thoughts here on the Cardinals and the Orioles?
Yeah, I like the Orioles have been my nemesis all year, but I feel like they've been hitting a little bit better lately, and especially some of their lefties, which I've always targeted Fetty with lefties too. So some of these guys just fit really nicely. I love Baltimore today, actually, in this spot. I think it's the perfect lineup to really, really get after Fetty. And I think it's a good spot for the Cardinals too. So I'm definitely on offense here. I think the more we talk about this slate, I think it's a super easy slate. Spend up at pitching. You got plenty of cheap bats that you can filter in here. I mean, there's so many good guys that are underpriced that I think it's super easy to make happen. But definitely bats in this game. I'm heavier on the Baltimore side. Did Adley Rutschman get hurt or something? I want to make sure.
He left yesterday's game after I think it was the third inning. So after
he's not going to play. He's going to be out, I'm pretty sure. He took a
foul ball off the face mask.
Good. I don't want to have to spend up for him.
He may be in MLB's version of the concussion protocol.
Yeah, so we got to wait and see that. I kind of hope he's out too. Honestly, I don't love it. He's been one of the guys that's killed me all year. I like Baltimore the best though. Them and Boston are my two favorite teams on this slate.
DC, we were talking a little bit over the weekend when we expected to see Charlie Morton pitching at that 5.5K price point. You've got him here at 5,500, and last three appearances, 27% strikeout rate, 6% walk rate, 3.17 xFIP. He's been bad, but it looks like maybe he's finally getting into shape here. Tough matchup against the Cardinals, who don't strike out a lot. And again, better options on the slate. What are your thoughts here, though, on the Orioles and the Cards?
Yeah, I do like the Orioles side as well. This is the best place to hit on the whole slate. It's not perfect, right? It's not like Camden Yards isn't that great of a stadium, but compared to the rest of what we have to choose from, I do think this is overall the best spot for offense on the entire slate. The lefties for Baltimore, assuming they're in there, Holiday, Henderson, O'Hearn, and Kierstead, Mullins. Yeah, I think the Orioles look really good against Fetty, who we know who he is at this point. He's a guy you can pick on with lefties. And then I do think the Cardinals are the best overall, or my favorite stack, at least on this slate against Charlie Morton, who, he's turned it around these last three starts, but, he really hasn't been any good for many years now, right? He kind of survived, but he's always been a guy who's allowed a ton of base runners. Getting older, he's over 40 now. He's obviously, capable still of a decent game, but overall, it's not going to be good for Charlie Morton. The Orioles don't really want him starting games, and I think, the Cardinals can do some damage. Park upgrade from what they normally play in. That top five, I know, you get like Ivan Herrera in there, 5,700, but the dude has just been absolutely crushing at the toughest position. So I am okay paying that price tag. And then I do really like Victor Scott down at the bottom of the lineup at 3,900, can run a ton as well. So in on both of these offenses, but I do slightly prefer the Cardinals side of it.
All right, we'll stick with you. The next game, the Blue Jays head into Texas to play the Rangers. Two offenses that really just disappointed continually over the weekend. The Rangers dropped 2 or 3 to the White Sox. And DC, the Blue Jays, against that mediocre Rays pitching staff, they scored 2 runs in 3 games in Tampa Bay. Now they have to face Jacob deGrom, who has looked every bit like the Jacob deGrom of old. He is 10K. Gausman here, an interesting play as well at 9K. This Texas offense has been just brutal and very difficult to watch. Thoughts here on this game?
Yeah, so on paper, a tough strikeout matchup for DeGrom, but he's just been so fantastic this year, consistent, building the pitch count up, that I'm not playing any Blue Jays hitters at all. And then, DeGrom is an awesome play, especially if you like cheaper bats. Absolutely get DeGrom in there. I think it's close between him and Crochet, just straight up. I could see I actually trust DeGrom more right now than I do Crochet to some extent, but I do think Crochet probably has higher strikeout upside if they're both, kind of on their A game. So I like both guys. Again, I think it's really, really close between those two. I'll have plenty of DeGrom for sure. And then same with Gausman. Gausman's been really good this season, kind of a resurgent season for him. The strikeouts are back. And I think he's a strong play. So, if you're spending for pitching, Gausman, DeGrom, both in the mix. I will say we don't have the Rangers lineup yet, I don't think, but
No, it's
top
a 4
of it.
game.
What's that?
The 4:00 game.
Yeah. Gausman still gives up power and he gives up speed. So the top of the Rangers lineup, Haggerty, Smith, Langford, Josh Jung, all those guys, the top three have speed and some power, and then Jung has been hitting the ball well. So if you're not on Gausman, I do think that's a decent contrarian stack at the top of top of the Rangers lineup specifically.
Certainly both these offenses are going to be very low owned given the popularity of the pitchers. Anthony wants to bring up a point of order. He says last few Morton was not starting and was in relief. Thank you. That's why I said appearances. You can go away now. Big T, thoughts here on the Rangers and the Blue Jays?
Yeah, this is all pitching for me. And DeGrom, I don't think people realize how good he's been, because I know he started a little slow and people were definitely worried about him as he was getting his pitch counts up and stuff. He still hasn't gone super deep, but finally over 100 last game. I mean, what, 7 Ks, 7. The K numbers are up outside of one start versus Seattle. I just think he's slightly back to, obviously maybe not that full dominant self that he was for a few years there, but I think he's closer than people realize. Toronto, I know they're known as a contact team, but their strikeout numbers have been decent over the last, I think I got it sorted by 30 days right now. They're over 20%, so plenty of strikeouts still to go around. And DeGrom, I just think he's clearly the best play of the day at pitcher. I like him way more than Crochet. Like I said, I can easily afford him, so I like him. And then Gausman, I don't know if anyone's been more up and down than him. He either goes for 30 or gets shellacked. Texas has been so bad, though. Has anyone been worse than Texas as far as expectation and everything baked into it? They have been beyond bad. I don't know what to say about them. So I have to like Gausman too. The only problem with Gausman is just stuff like you have Tyon in this similar range. You got those guys above. You got Chad Patrick right below him. I know everyone wants to get in there now that DC's on them. So
he'll be lower owned for those reasons, right? Because you're going to have 50-ish% and then 40-ish% between Tyon, DeGrom, and Crochet, and that doesn't leave a lot left for Gausman, who is in, as you mentioned, right? Perhaps an underrated spot against the Texas team that people still think is somewhat good, and they just haven't been.
Yeah, I mean, and it's been so bad, and as their prices get cheaper too, it's one of those ones where I'm tempted, but man, they just have been so bad. And since John's been scouting all the minor leaguers, I'd like to know who Alejandro Osuna is. Have you been studying his game too?
No, he's not good enough for me to get up on his game. So yeah, I'm good though with the Red Sox prospects. Wait for that kid Anthony to come up, Tony. You'll really like
names
him.
Out now too.
I'm just throwing other names out there. DC knows exactly who I'm talking about too. Guy hits bombs, but just wait, just wait. I'm ready for the good ones, not the shitty ones. But I came on here expecting more fights on this show, and you guys haven't fought except for like that shitty Chad Patrick. That wasn't even an argument too. Where's the fighting? JT, you're the one who stirs the ship. By stir, I mean, like, you stir the boat, you rock the boat, man. Like, come on, you got to get a little more aggressive here. I need more JT takes so I can, like, see these guys start yelling at you or yelling at each other.
He already recommended freaking Charlie Morton. What else do you want from him?
Well, I heard DC kind of shit on Charlie Morton. I didn't hear you shit on Charlie Morton, though. Where is it?
What's funny about that is DC was aligned over the weekend to play him against the Red Sox at 5K or 5,500, and now today he's like, no.
That was because the Yankees weren't Coors.
Slate dependent.
So how does that impact his performance? He can deliver. Wait a minute.
When there's multiple 6K bats you want, the cheap pitchers become more attractive.
But he can only deliver a usable score if the Yankees are playing in cores that are expensive.
Yeah, you got it. Yep, correct.
Well, I know. I want you to explain it.
No, yeah, you were right. You asked me the question. You had it correct.
DC's not in a fighting mood. DC's not in a. See, JSU, you provoked me. And
I was trying. I really did. I tried my best. I just sat back.
There's nothing to fight about it. He had the take correct. He knew it's you can only play Morton on Yankees Coors slates.
I get it, DC. DC wanted all the 6K Yankee bats in there, who, by the way, like, sucked in Coors.
Easy explanation.
I get it.
But if you think Morton is a terrible play, then you wouldn't play him. You would pair them with a cheap team, right? I mean,
but like at that point, when you play Charlie Morton at that price tag, JT, what are you reasonably hoping for?
12, 13.
Yeah, and you're like super happy if he gets you 12, right? Like you're very happy. So like you can justify that more when you have absolute killers in cores or in a spot that's just like you see as just fully dominant. You can't justify it as much, I feel like, on a slate like this where we might love a team, but I don't see that like dominant type of spot like there was when the Yankees were in cores is more the point.
These pitchers, even the bad pitchers, they reach a price point, and who was it? Sean Burke, maybe, or someone from the White Sox, right? It wasn't Burke. It was this last week. But you get to that point, like Dean Kramer yesterday. Dean Kramer was on the winner. Nobody played Dean Kramer. He was 6,600 against the Red Sox. He goes for 20. And so if Morton goes for 20, and you get an outlier performance from DeGrom or Crochet or even Tyon, he could be on the winner at 5,500 if the Cardinals don't do a lot today. So that's the only point. It's not, is he that much different a play than Chad Patrick? Chad Patrick is young. Chad Patrick is a prospect. But I think if Morton is pitching well, he can go 7 innings. I don't think that's going to happen with Chad Patrick, no matter what happens today.
I'm taking Palmquist over both your dumpster pitchers.
DC, remember what I was talking about Big T taking it a step too far over?
Yeah,
he just went off the cliff. He just literally took the step off the cliff.
He's going to murder both of your two terrible. I'm stacking both teams against your two pitchers, and I'm playing Palmquist.
Yeah. So first of all, he's 2% on. I'm not going crazy here. I've said.
My favorite backpedaling off him. You like him. Stand your ground.
JT Palmquist has got to be 2% owned too, so don't backpedal. He gave a 2%er. You gave a 2%er.
Yeah, I don't. Whatever. All right, let's move on. JSU, we'll stick with you. The Reds.
I'm definitely not playing Palmquist for the record.
Yeah, the Reds and the Royals. This game in danger here.
Morton is 45 years old with a dead arm.
Simply because.
True.
Simply because.
All
right. Reds, Royals. Big concern here with the weather. It's supposed to rain throughout the window that this game is supposed to be played in and late into the night. Nick Martinez, 7,300. Michael Lorenzen, 7,700. Reds, first game out of Great American Ballpark. Royals haven't been good. Royals do have a lineup out, and it has John Rave.
Yes, another prospect, Johnny.
And he's not in the player pool, so you cannot play John Rave. Go ahead, JSU.
So I don't even have to give a breakdown on him because we can't even play him. Thank God.
Yes.
I have no idea who that fucking guy was. But either way, I don't know if I'm going to get to this game as much. I don't really obviously love the pitchers. Lorenzen has got it done a little bit this year, but still, I think there's better spots, and I want to spend up a little bit more. So I'm not going there, not going to Martinez. More question is, do I want to mess with the weather on this slate? I would assume. Do we all think this game plays?
It's going to rain. Well, there's a 40 to 50% chance of rain from basically 4 o'clock until midnight in Kansas City.
Yeah, if it's risky at all, I probably won't take the risk at all, just because it's not even a spot that I like absolutely love either way, bats or pitchers. I probably lean bats if you made me pick a side, but KC, I don't really love in general. Maybe doing like a mini stack with Cincinnati and finding a couple. Obviously, they got Ellie. I know Benson's, had a hot stretch about a week ago where he was hitting bombs every day. He's still 3,800. Maybe taking a shot, some like a mini, but I probably won't do it just if there's any risk at all, which it seems like there is.
Big T, thoughts here on this game in Kansas City?
Yeah, I even if it was good weather, I wouldn't like this game. With the weather, just easy cross off for me.
DC, I think you've already basically given your take here that you didn't have much interest even if the game was going to play.
Correct. And like you said, JT, I do think the rain's coming to KC at some point today. And when it does, I'm not sure they're going to, it's going away, right? I don't know if they're going to continue playing if this game either starts in delay. I don't think it will, or has a mid-game delay. I bet they're done for the day at that point. So it doesn't seem like a game you need to force stuff in. There's just not that many good plays in it anyway.
All right, fair enough. Last game on the slate, DC, the White Sox, after taking 2 of 3 from the Rangers, head into New York, take on the Mets. Adrian Hauser, 5,800. Clay Holmes, who's been a nice find for the Mets, DC, but he's 9,300 against the White Sox. Your thoughts on White Sox Mets?
So I do still think Clay Holmes is an okay play at 9,300 just because it's the White Sox. He's pitching at home. It's a good place to pitch. But I do have him behind Crochet, DeGrom, and Gaussman. So fourth of 4 among the 9K plus pitchers, which, maybe he'll make it into a lineup. But I do think he's clearly fourth among those guys. I still think he's going to pitch just fine, but just not the upside. I don't think that those pitchers bring to the table. And then the Mets spot reminds me a little bit of the Cubs spot, right? Like a really good offense, at least on paper, expensive, but then also in an awesome matchup. I mean, the White Sox going with Adrian Hauser here, horrible bullpen behind him, just like the Rockies, really similar, but not the best park and not the best hitting conditions. So I have a lot more faith in the Cubs to overcome the poor condition, the non-ideal hitting conditions than I do the Mets. But it does look like the Mets are going to be the most popular stack on this slate. Sabres got the highest owned 4 or 5 players as Mets. So again, I do think they're a good stack. As the clear chalk, maybe not, right? Because you're paying for it too. So I do like the Cubs better. If you're playing a lot of lineups, I can't imagine not including the Mets in there against Adrian Hauser and this White Sox bullpen.
Yeah, fair enough there. JSU, thoughts on the Mets and the White Sox?
I can't believe Hauser's still pitching. I thought this dude was absolute cheeks. He's a ground ball pitcher, right, DC? He's like a ground ball guy.
He gives up a lot of home runs. He's just not very good in general.
He gives up a lot of bombs, definitely not playing him, even at that price point. I agree with DC too about Holmes. I think I have him ranked like at the bottom of the 9K guys. Not that obviously we know the White Sox kind of stink. I just feel like the upside for him might be a little bit more capped than some of these other top tier guys. And I honestly, if I needed like a real cheap, like mini stack or one-off, like the White Sox do have a couple of interesting guys I could pull out. That Vargas dude has some power. He's, what is he? 3,400 at first and third. Palacios has been hitting all right, 2,800. So they got a couple guys if I needed to pull out. And I think that's probably what I'll do is another team where if I play anything, it's probably going to be like a mini stack from the White Sox, or you could obviously full stack the Mets. The Mets and the Cubs are that's going to be my, decision here for my third team is, do I want to play Cubs or Mets? I think I'm going back and forth on, but clearly one of the better spots obviously is the Mets. So, I don't know if I'm going to get to them, but they are a good team to stack today. And then, like I said, I think you could get to some of these White Sox in like a mini stack if you needed salary.
All right. Big T, last game on the slate, White Sox Mets. Thoughts here?
Yeah, the White Sox, I mean, same things you say about the Rockies, just so bad. I mean, these teams are just so bad. I have to like Clay Holmes. I like Clay Holmes more than you guys. I do agree with you, though, that I think he's more of a safe type play, just like Tyon, in my opinion. Like, I think they're both very similar, where I don't think they're going to get us like 30, but I do think that if I played both of them, I'm confident I get like somewhere around 15 to 20 from both of them, and really not a ton of risk going against these offenses. So I think they're both. I like Holmes more than Tyon personally, though, just to flip it a little, but only because I think the ownership, and I think the White Sox are just as bad as the Rockies. They might be slightly better, but not much better. And then the Mets, I like the lefties a lot, which everyone's going to like Lindor, Soto, but I like this Jared Young a little bit. His price tag's super cheap. I always like Beatty against a righty like Hauser. Our boy Doogie Hauser's always struggled with lefties. I like the Mets lefties, so that gets me off Alonso, Vientos, and some of the better guys. Even Alvarez. I think Alvarez will get decent amount of ownership. I like the lefties.
All right, we'll finish up here, and we'll get some thoughts here, starting with you, DC. Most important pitcher to your day?
Jameson Tyon's my favorite.
No, boo!
Hey,
how do you not lean into that?
I was leading into it. And then, of course, Mr. Chad Patrick going to throw a gem for me for the Brewers. So, Tyon and Patrick, there you go.
JSU, most important pitcher to you?
I mean, it's going to be the DeGrom and Tyon pairing, because that's what I'm going with probably most likely on two of my three teams. So it's going to be that pairing.
Yeah, I think it's Crochet for me. The two starts prior to his last start, throw 100 pitches. This game is inside. Milwaukee, it's been up and down all season long. They seem to have hit a little bit of a power slump here. At least I think Crochet can take advantage of that. And look, you can say what you want about pitchers are terrible, etc. 5,500, he's 2% owned. I'm going to play 10 to 15% of Charlie Morton here, given his underlying metrics over his last three appearances. Those were difficult matchups as well. Big T, your most important pitchers
besides Palmquist.
Besides Palmquist, I mean, unless you're serious that Palmquist is like, because some of these sick fucks will go and look at your teams and say, "Where is Palmquist?" And you don't want him to not be there.
That's going to be me.
He will not be on my main core, but I'm going to filter him in there on a few teams just to whoop you guys with him. Whoop Morton and whoop JSU needs a cheapie anyways. He's got to come in. You can have Doogie Hauser, JSU. You can come in.
I don't want Doogie Hauser. Why are you trying to? I want to spend up for pitcher. I don't want any of these.
JSU already went. What is? So who are your most? Don't try and.
No, JT. He's trying to make me pick one of these shitball pitchers.
Listen,
that's what he's trying to do.
JSU, you've got a couple to pick from here. You've got Fetty, Montero, and Hauser. Make your stand.
Yeah.
Fetty, Montero, and Hauser.
Oh, Hauser, that's your guy.
Can I plead the fifth here? I don't know. I didn't get to talk about Birdsong, but he's at least got decent stuff. Like Detroit's good, but I guess I'd go him if you make me go with someone that's not expensive.
That's terrible.
You're terrible. I don't want to hear you give Palmquist.
Yeah,
so you grab your nuts and give Palmquist. I don't want to hear it. I don't like any of those cheap shitters.
You think JT actually likes Morton? No, he might.
Yes, I do. I do.
I know. I love Palmquist.
Okay.
I know DC loves Patrick.
Besides,
he definitely loves Patrick. Come on.
No, I know that for a fact. He loves
He does. All right. Besides Palmquist, Big T, who is
definitely DeGrom, and DeGrom's my number one by a lot, and then I think Clay Holmes my number 2 because I think the chalk pairing for sure is Crochet and Tyon. I'll go in all seriousness, though, I think I'm playing like 40 teams or something in that tournament. They took away our $5 Mondays, though. That's one of the reasons I love the Monday. We always get the $5, so I think I cut it to 40 teams. I'm really only going to play those 5 pitchers, though. Crochet, Tyon, DeGrom, Holmes, and Gausman. And I'm going to play a complimentary Palmquist because of the show. But the top 5 are where I want to live today, those 5. And honestly, I don't have a ton of separation between them, so I'm okay spreading it around a little bit between the 5. But DeGrom's my favorite for sure.
All right. Which team is most important to your success this afternoon, Big T?
Going against both of your guys' pitchers, Baltimore and Boston. Actually, the flip side of the Baltimore. I got it. Yeah, I tried to take the argument an extra length.
Yeah. I'm not on Fetty, so no. I
was looking at Morton right below the Orioles logo.
No worries there. JSU teams that
JSU needs Fetty. That's what we need. He needs to be on.
So my favorite spot is the St. Louis Baltimore game. I like both sides too. So that's why I can't pick Fetty, Tony. I like the bats in that game. You obviously fell asleep because it was one of the few games I actually talked about. I just said I like both sides.
Figured out before we get off too, because he's got to do it today. He's got to go get it.
Got to go get dude. What I'll do is I'll eat Wendy's on the show like you eat breakfast on the show or something like that. That's what I'll do. I'll buy it and I'll get it up for one of our shows this week.
All right, my teams are the Red Sox and the Cubs. This is why I'm going to need 15 out of Charlie Morton. Go ahead, DC. Who are your most important teams on this slate?
Yeah, St. Louis. And because I have all this glorious DraftKings money to spend with Chad Patrick, I can afford the Cubs, who probably put up another 10 plus in poor conditions in Wrigley.
All right. Playbook names will be going in. The batters will be going in just a few minutes now that we've got some lineups.
Who's going yard, JT? We gotta give a guy going yard before we get out of here.
Come on. I'd like to finish the playbook, but if I can, it's because I got to pick someone who goes yard. Carlos Narvaez.
Oh, now you got me excited. You waited the whole show to get me excited. Now you got me excited. That's my boy.
I love that.
We got 2 for Carlos Narvaez. JSU, your pick.
I swear that was good.
Can I go? I'm going to go to the same team. I've been waiting. Abraham Toro is getting one off DC's boy. He's getting one. Toro early. Let's go, baby. Mr. Toro.
Mr. Toro. DC.
I'll give the people a good player who actually has a chance of hitting a home run today. Mr. Lars Nootbaar, come on down.
I like that. Get that.
Lars Nootbaar. All right. Playbook will be up. Cores will be up for DC.
I don't even get to give a bomb. This is unbelievable. I just talked up your play. Oh, my gosh.
Go ahead.
Unbelievable.
But you wanted Carlos Narvaez.
Yeah.
I was excited.
Tony, you got to go Red Sox and go full circle. You got to go Red Sox and go full circle.
Yeah, I'm going Wilyer Abreu, my favorite play of the day. He's going to hit the third bomb.
Man, you need to have some heart. You got to pick someone who's cheap. I gave a 2,400 guy going bomb.
I had Narvaez. JT stole him from me.
Oh, you liked him?
That was my play. I was waiting all show to give it as my bomb.
We weren't going to do this. JSU threw me a little bit of a curve there.
I mean, you got to give a home run call at the end of the show. You got to.
You do. All right. For the boys, get into the Discord. Good luck in your contest today.